We are live. You're ready.
Okay. Please rise. This meeting will come to order for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Benjamin. Here. Veronic.
Here.
Baylor.
Here.
Kasdorf.
Here.
Holman.
Here.
Huber. Mr. Sredina is excused.
Caitlin, could you turn on your mic? Thank you. Is there anyone desiring to be heard? Please come forward.
Hello, I'm Susanna Schroeder. My address is on file with the village, and I'm your library director. I wanted to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up at the library soon. We have Chad Lewis. He's going to present the gangster history of Wisconsin on Thursday, September 10th at 5:30. Also, we're going to be hosting a Badger Talk by Steve Ackerman, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, The Ship, The Storm, The Song, on Thursday, October 8th, also at 5:30. When I was here last month, I shared the exciting news that our summer reading program had 189 people signed up. I was asked what percentage of those who signed up are Butler residents, and I will answer that at the end of my time. But first, I want to share two stories from this week. Yesterday, a woman came into the library with her laptop, sat at a table in adult fiction, and worked for a few hours. When she was leaving, I smiled at her, we made eye contact, and I thanked her for visiting. She smiled, waved, and went through the door. She walked back in a few moments later and told me how much she appreciates our library. She said she comes in a few times a month to get some work done, and she loves the warm, welcoming environment that our staff has created. Her final comment is what really struck me, though. She said, "I feel safe here." I have worked in several public libraries, so I understand what she meant. Not all public spaces feel safe, but ours does, and that's what brings her back. She can get Wi-Fi access at many places, but she chooses the Butler Public Library. And last week, two sisters skipped into the library holding hands. They were so excited to be there. I rarely get to see these little girls because they attend story time on Wednesdays, and I'm not there on Wednesdays. They went to the children's area, played, giggled, looked at books together. A while later, I noticed that they were sharing a chair in the teen area, each with a chapter book and a stuffed animal in their lap, using their finger to follow along while they were telling stories. One of the little girls kept repeating, "And then you go north," several times. I asked their caregiver if I could take a picture and put it on our Facebook page, and she said, of course. Then she told me that it was their 4th birthday that day, and she said that the girls were really upset at school drop-off that morning, making her feel terrible. So when she picked them up from school, she asked them what they wanted to do for their birthday, and they both said, go to the library. They wanted to spend their special day with us at our library. So we each took turns twirling in our dresses, and we looked for books, and they left really happy. So the library is part of their lives. And when you start your literacy journey early, it has a long-term positive impact. Literacy means being able to take your driver's ed test, fill out a job application, understand the training materials for your job, complete tax forms, and maybe one day fill out a mortgage paperwork. Literacy isn't just about words and stories. It's also about technology and learning how to use it. Our local seniors come to the library for that help so they can apply for their benefits, send an email and a photo to a grandchild who lives out of town, and to see what programming is available in area senior centers so they can stay active and connected to others. That's only part of the story, the Butler Public Library. So to answer your question from last month, 311 people have signed up for the summer reading program. 136 are Butler residents. 43.7% of our summer reading program are Butler residents. And that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else desiring to be heard?
Jump up there.
Come forward.
Get to them.
Just name and address.
Andrew Sears, 12734 West Lancaster Avenue, Butler, Wisconsin, 53007. Good evening, Mr. President and board members. My name is Andrew Sears. I am a Butler resident and a parent and a veteran to this community. I'm here because my children and my neighbors' children have lost the ability to safely use their own backyards. And the village's current approach is not fixing the problem. It's only getting worse. Next to my kid's home is a garage, property address 4667 North 126th Street, where the roof is caved in on both sides in sections and obvious structural failure. I have photos from today showing multiple large holes straight through the roof decking, rotted out soffits and eaves crumbling apart, the damage to the siding, and I'm told on the far side of the roof, the south side of the property, the damage is equal to. I just don't have pictures as it's not from the property my children live at. The building is falling apart in real time. That collapsed structure has become a den for wildlife, and we are now looking at an estimated 20 to 30 raccoons living in and around this garage. Those animals move freely in between the properties and yards on either side. We have a structurally unsafe building, 24 wildlife animals, and contamination right next to where kids in our village play. There's another family immediately to the south of the property dealing with the same hazards and the same fears. This is not just my household, it is multiple families. The village has known about this for at least a year, and during this time, fines have been incurred in totaling about $92,000, and the owner has ignored the orders and continued to live in squalor. The garage is still standing. The raccoon population has grown and not shrunk. Our yards are still effectively unusable. We have punished the problem on paper, but we have not removed the problem in real time. As a veteran, I've worked in environments where known hazards are not left sitting in the AO while paperwork piles up. If someone on my watch had allowed a structurally failing, vermin-infested building to sit next to families for a year or more while the damage spread, there would be accountability to be had. I'm not here for sympathy, I'm here for decisions. I'm asking the board to direct staff and the village attorney to move beyond fines and pursue actual abatement. Secure or demolish the structure, remove the raccoon infestation, and prevent it from returning. Use liens and available tools to recover costs. I'm asking for a clear timeline, not another year of it's with the attorney while the roof keeps opening up and the raccoon population keeps growing. The snow is going to make it worse every winter. You have my email and my photos and documentation, and now my voice on record. I'm asking you as a neighbor, as a parent, and as a veteran to choose action over the process and remove the dangerous and deteriorating building from our neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we did get the pictures that you sent. So thank you. Anyone else desiring to be heard? Name and address, please. And
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Gensch, 4830 North 125th. I'm the owner of Butler Auto Body, along with many other properties in the village of Butler. And I always bring my taxes and water bills right to Mr. Benjamin and pay him. And we were chatting one day, and he said that you had a excess piece of inventory that's coming up at 5302 Park Avenue, Park Drive. It has sincere interest and something I would be interested in acquiring, and to add it to my portfolio of other properties, specific use that I'd be employing for that property. And I know its shortcomings. I know it does flood. I know it does not have sewer and water. I'm aware of that. I have a propensity, once we finish cars at my Butler Auto Body, thanks to the generous support of the village bringing that to a very successful business. We've done very well there. We want to survive and continue our growth there. As we finish cars off, I'm always looking for a spot to store effectively, efficiently, safely. And this has a building on it which would afford me, I think, about 4+ car indoor storage.
I'm sorry, President Kastorf. I'm going to ask if he can make this presentation during, at the time of the closed session. I think that he's going to start giving, because he's going to start providing his presentation for that. I think that this would be best suited for the closed session item.
so we'll call you back, just if you don't mind. And then I know there's another interested party, so we'll call that party up at that time as well. Okay, sorry for the confusion.
Sorry for that.
Okay,
I do have a public comment that was emailed to me. This is from Jeanne Briggs in the village. I apologize. She lives on Lancaster Avenue. I don't have the exact address, so I apologize. But she states, "Hi Ben, Janine Briggs. I am writing to you about having an ordinance put in place for large gatherings at a person's home. I live on Lancaster Avenue, and the group home had about 200 people attend. I believe that she's talking about the celebration that happened on 4th of July. They parked on both sides of the street and in front of the fire hydrants. Emergency vehicles would not have been able to get through on the street. If the village could address this, it would be much appreciated. Thank you." That's all that she stated in her email.
Noted. Is there anyone else desiring to be heard? Consent agenda. Is there any questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Communications?
We have the department reports in the packet, and then I am relaying the unfortunate passing of County Executive Paul Farrow. He has served the county for a number of years and passed somewhat unexpectedly. He was ill with cancer, but I think that it came to a shock to all of us when he did finally pass. So we share the county's grief in his passing. There will be a special election for his seat. The primary will be on November 17th, and the election for the seat will happen on December 15th. Right now, you can circulate nomination papers, and that will occur. I believe the deadline for that is at the end of October. So I will be communicating more with the community once we know more about if there's going to be a primary necessary, and the election results or timeline once we get that.
Thank you. Committee reports, building board.
Before I start the building board, public safety wasn't on there.
Okay, so we'll add it in. Public safety, we'll add that in.
Okay. So, yeah, public safety first.
Yes, please.
Okay, public safety met this evening at 5 PM. In the fire department report, we learned that the average response time is below 8 minutes currently, doing very well with that. Inspections for the village are over halfway complete with an ongoing follow-up of violations that are found. Continuing work with administration to update our village code where needed, and they're going to be participating in a number of community events coming up. On the police side, huge amount of training remains a commitment and a focus. Beyond that, a number of outside specialized training was obtained as well. The department has received grants which will go towards body armor reimbursement and the radio upgrades. Officers have participated in a number of community activities and more upcoming. We have our e-bike in service now, and a special note that the Butler Night Out is coming up on August 4th. End of report.
Thank you. And now building board.
Building board, we tabled one occupancy permit for Brave Kids Big League located at 12714 West Hampton. And we began a discussion regarding taking action for permits that are coming after the fact, occupancies and signs that are done without a permit. End of report.
Thank you. Community events.
Community events met on the 23rd of last month. We welcomed 2 new members, Jenny and Nicole. We had a report regarding the parade, which was obviously before the 4th of July parade, but the 4th of July parade went off perfectly. We met, or we also decided that we would support Butler Night Out and send our committee members and workers to make sure that the event was happening. And we approved purchases of some supporting material like chips and pretzels and a variety of things like that. We moved our speaker purchase investigation forward, but we haven't made any final decisions. And we are planning a couple of craft fairs to take place this fall. End of report.
Thank you. Finance committee.
We met right before this meeting at 5:55-ish. We reviewed and approved the June statements of revenue expenditures and the June invoices, and we also called out the wonderful job that the Butler has done with the grants that we saw on the June budgets. End of report.
Thank you. Library Board, Charlene, are you able to handle that?
The library board met on July 14th. We recognized Tom's years of service with us, both as a member of the library board, as the trustee liaison to the board, as a member of our Friends. We discussed our participation in National Night Out, Night Off, and especially our collaboration with the Friends, who will also be present there this year. We discussed the table and discussed and moved forward the memorandum of understanding, discussed possible avenues to purchase the copier, and reviewed our proposed 2027 budget in depth. End of report.
Thank you. Community Foundation met last week. We are taking a look at getting the caboose repainted, probably next spring or summer. And then we also have an open board position for anyone interested. That's the end of the Community Foundation report. The Plan Commission met and they decided to further review and just to discuss the zoning of M1 and B1 districts. Eventually, that will be presented to the village board for discussion. End of report. Report of the administrator.
I will try to make this quick. We do have the partisan primary on August 11th. Absentee voting starts next week, Tuesday. So if you are unwilling or unable to come to the polls, you can come ahead of time and vote in person at the clerk's office. It'll be happening Tuesday to Friday that week, and then Monday to Friday the week after. We are currently making progress on our road construction project. It is about a month behind, but we are now in the home stretch of the water project, and then after that, Stark Paving will be able to knock out the rest of the project pretty quickly. We are finishing up getting some of the department budgets. We still are waiting a little bit of the budgets from the library and the police department, but I did have a due date of the 31st, so there is still some time for that. After that, we'll go right into wages at the August meeting. With that, end of report.
Thank you. Unfinished business, I would like a motion to switch items A and B.
I'll make a motion to switch unfinished business A with B.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Unfinished business, item B. Discussion and possible action on a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Butler, the Butler Public Library, and the Library Board of the Butler Public Library.
Yes.
Library
Charlene, if you
Board.
would like to come
And if
forward.
Charlene could come up.
So I believe what we have in the packet is the most updated version. I believe, Charlene, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The main changes were on the first page under the good faith section of the agreement. There's some other small wording changes, but I think pretty much everything else had been hashed out. We went to the library board. You guys had one or two questions, which I answered for you. And I guess I'll hand it over to you to kind of review anything else you'd like.
Like I say, we discussed this at the library board. Their question was around the number one item, making sure that they understood the article about termination and then modification. I took some questions to Ben. We've got some good discussion there. That essentially is the only substantive change in this document. So the rest of it you have seen before. So I will answer any questions you have. One more thing, the verbiage in the good faith section really came through Ben and whomever you consulted with.
Well, that spurred from Trustee Huber's comments about her concerns with regards to that. So that is what's spurring it.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you.
I think it covers everything we had talked about the last couple times. So I don't see any issues.
I'm very satisfied as well.
Does any of the other board have any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
On behalf of the library board, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
to the administration for all the input as well. Unfinished business. Now we'll do item A, discussion and possible action on a right-of-way alteration permit for Blaze Properties LLC, owner of 4652 North 127th.
I guess I just wanted to verify, is there anybody from Blaze in the audience? Okay. I did send this agenda to them with the packet. So this came before you before. There were some questions that were asked about the width of the driveway and what was allowed. Basically, I did submit a memo for the packet. What they're trying to do is not allowed under the zoning code. They are trying to make a driveway that's already as large as it can be even bigger. So they, if you remember, they did cut into the right of way. They cut the curb and the gutter and extended it out a couple feet. So they would be making it, I believe, almost 26 to 27 feet when it's already at the maximum of 24 feet wide. So what will need to what I'm recommending happening is that you deny this right-of-way alteration permit because it can't be any bigger than it already is. It's already as wide as it can be. There's no way that we can allow that. They would have to go through the variance process with the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I'm not the Board of Zoning Appeals, but from what I can see, it does not meet the strict statutory requirements of a variance. They're more than welcome to come before the Board of Zoning Appeals if they would like, but that is something that they would have to apply for and go through the process for. So I would recommend denial. When and if the board does deny, I would be sending a notice to the property owner ordering that they do repair the damage that was done. And if they fail to do so within a specific time frame, I will have the DPW conduct that work, and then we would be billing them directly for that.
So as far as the reclamation would go, you're gonna send out a letter for them to, so is that gonna be somewhat permitted? Because, a permit, so someone verifies that that curb and gutter is put back correctly?
Correct.
So they'll have to pull a permit for the reclamation.
So what will have to happen is they will have to submit to the village basically what they're going to be using to have that. It's not necessarily a permit per se because we don't have a permit for that, I guess. But they would have to be submitting to the village so we can verify that it is up to our standard on how we want. They're not going to be able to put in any type of mix that they want to make the curb fixed. They would
But
have
if we
to meet
don't have it
specific
permitted or
requirements.
there's someone not checking it, they could just say whatever they want to say, right? So there's no checks and balances to how they're gonna do it versus we're just gonna use a, 5-bag mix.
So
And is it gonna be tied in correctly for the standards of our DPW to where they can't just replace that top curb part? I mean, that whole thing has to be redone.
and how the code is written, as I understand it, is that we do have to allow the homeowner or the property owner who damaged it to repair it.
Right,
So
but there has to be guidelines of how they can repair it, right? I mean,
correct, there are standards, but we can get our engineer out there to verify that it's being done correctly, and that can then be assessed because that any type of our ordinances are in place where if we have a legal or engineering consultation, we can bill that back to the property owner as time spent to remedy that.
I
So
just would like some verification that it's being done to what we need, that we don't have issues with it later, because once it's done and over with, right, what do we do, right?
correct.
Okay, well, we'd have to see what they end up doing, and then we can kind of go from there. So the first step would be, is there a motion to deny the right-of-way?
I'll make a motion to deny the right of way.
I'll second it.
Eric and Bill. A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. And then now we can see what the repair would be for that. New business, presentation of the 2025 audit results by Michelle Walter of Baker Tilly. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I am Michelle Walter. I'm a senior manager at Baker Tilly. Glad to see a lot of you again. I believe everyone has the handout we're walking through. It's very high level summary, couple pages, but we'll touch base on some of the 2025 audit and financial statement information. So overall, the audit process is kind of built into a couple different phases. We start with our preliminary fieldwork and planning, which is what we do looking at internal controls and kind of just policies and procedures in place. That helps us build our audit plan for when we get to final fieldwork, where we're actually looking at the numbers that are in the general ledger and auditing them and determining are they accurate. The third phase is the reporting phase. So this is putting together the financial statements and other reports. All of this is to get an audit opinion from us, your auditors. And we were able to issue an unmodified or a clean opinion on the 2025 audit. So in your actual financial statement document, this is on pages 1 through 3. And this means that the financial statements of the village are free of any material misstatements, that they include all of the required disclosures that are necessary, and that accounting principles have been followed consistently year over year. If you're someone who likes to look this year versus last year, there is one section in the opinion that's an emphasis of matter paragraph, and that's solely because we had to move one of the funds, the capital project equipment fund, from the back of the financial statements to the front, because it's now considered a major fund based on some dollar thresholds. So that's all that's calling up there. But when we start looking at the numbers in the financial statements, we'll look at the governmental funds first. So these are on pages 15 and 16 of the actual financial statement document. Again, if you have the document, it kind of looks like this one. That's the cover, sort of. But so the general fund is the main operating fund of the village. So overall, there was about $2.8 million of revenue compared to $2.7 million of expenditures. So overall increase in fund balance of about $55,000. When you look at this compared to what the village had budgeted, the budget was to break even. So positive when comparing to the budget. So at the end of the year, the fund balance in the general fund was about $853,000. And this is broken out into a couple different buckets. The first is considered non-spendable fund balance. So this is prepaid amounts, non-current receivables, or delinquent personal property taxes that are in fund balance, but you really can't spend them. So that's about $71,000. The next category is committed, and that's about $24,000, and that's for your community service funds. They're earmarked for those purposes. There's about $38,000 that is assigned fund balance, and that's what management has chose to assign for future compensated absences. So that leaves about $720,000 in the general fund of unassigned, free-to-use fund balance. Now, the village has a policy that this number should be about 20 to 25% of the expenditures for the year, and at the end of the year, it's at about 25.9%. So that's a very strong position of the general fund. And you have quite a bit in there to use as needed if something were to come up. The debt service fund is the next fund that we'll look at. So overall, $1.1 million of both revenues and expenditures. There was some debt issued that went to this fund to pay off the 2024 state trust fund loan. So added about $2,000 to fund balance. And at the end of the year, there's about $80,000 that's restricted for future debt service payments. The library fund is the next fund. So overall, this fund had a decrease in fund balance of around $5,000 down to about $29,000. All of this is restricted for library purposes. The equipment fund is the next fund that I referenced earlier, where it used to be in the back as a non-major fund, and now it's a major fund, so separate on its own. $576,000 of revenues compared to $196,000 of expenditures. There's about $220,000 that was borrowed in this fund for 2026 capital projects. So that's why there's kind of a bigger increase to fund balance of about $380,000. So the fund balance in this fund ended the year at about $764,000. There's a portion that's restricted, that's 220,000, that's the debt that got issued that is yet to be spent. So that's earmarked for those various projects and equipment purchases. And then 544,000 is what's left in the equipment fund to use for capital expenses. The last major fund is the borrowed money fund. So revenues of about $561,000, which includes about $515,000 of new debt for street projects, compared to $623,000 of expenditures. So this fund decreased fund balance by about $63,000 to about $907,000. And I believe there was some activity during the year to work with others to make sure that the balance in this fund reflected what they know about for unspent proceeds too. So that $906,000 is restricted for various future capital projects. The last governmental fund is the non-major park and rec fund. Overall, this fund increased fund balance by about $9,000 up to $20,000. And all of that is committed for those park and rec activities. Next, we'll briefly look at the 3 utilities of the village. So the water, stormwater, and sewer utility activity is all presented on this next sheet. And both the water utility and stormwater utility had operating income for the year. So water was at about $229,000 and storm was at about $108,000. Both of those are up from 2024. The sewer utility had a operating loss of about $58,000, but there's some miscellaneous revenues that if we look down below, kind of recoup some of that amount. So that $60,000 that is listed in miscellaneous revenue is a reimbursement from MMS in 2025. So when we look at all of the activity, all 3 of these utilities had an increase in net position for the year. So the water utility was up to about $1.5 million. Stormwater was about 2.6, and sewer was about $1.6 million. This isn't all free to use net position. There is a big chunk of this that is net invested in your capital assets. So that's your infrastructure in the ground, net of any related debt. Waters is about $1 million. Stormwater is 2.2 million, and sewer is about 585,000. The unrestricted net position is kind of the key to look at there is what do I have to be able to use? So water utility has about 400,000, stormwater about 469,000, and sewer about $1 million. So overall, good year for the utilities. The next document that we issue is the reporting and insights document. That's the second document that looks kind of like this, which this is our narrative of the audit. We walk through audit approach, the objective of the audit, and risks associated with the audit. We're required to communicate any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that were found as part of the audit. We have 2 material weaknesses, which are both not new to the village. The first is the internal control over financial reporting, because as part of the audit, we do the financial statements as well as have material journal entries. I'll say that we've worked with Ben and Aaron over the last couple of years, and the number and I'm going to say quantity of the journal entries has gone down. So I know that we've done a lot of learning through that, but there's still some pieces that we have to move around. So both this as well as the segregation of duties with having such a small office, one person can't do everything. But I know Ben and Aaron are on top of things of trying to do the best that they can and have compensating controls in that respect. So both of these are very common in smaller municipalities and that we see quite often, mostly an awareness type thing. We have an other comments and recommendations section. And the 2 items that are in here are IT best practices and then some comments on the payroll liability balances. And Ben and I actually had a conversation of what we can do going forward to clear up those payroll liabilities. So hopefully going forward, those balances will be updated. The one item I will call out is we have had a point in this letter for several years related to utility billing and rates being charged and just miscellaneous items. Happy to report that this item was resolved in 2025 after much work from administration and tracking down charges, rates, types of charges. So good job on that aspect. I know that was a long time coming. Otherwise, there's some required communications in this letter also that we have to have as your auditors. Any new accounting policies that were put in place or any estimates that are included in the financial statements. If there were any disagreements with management, we're happy to report there were none. It was a pleasure working with Ben and Aaron, and we got full cooperation and everything we needed. We probably bugged them more than they wanted us to, but the last section of this report is just labeled our two-way communication. And that's us reaching out to the board as, you know, our audit isn't just once at the end of the year. So if there's anything that were to come up, please feel free to reach out to us at any point. We'd be happy to work through it. But other than that, I'd be happy to have any questions that you guys have at this point.
Sounds like it's pretty steady. I mean, over the years, it's pretty consistent would be a better word.
Yes,
Yeah.
pretty consistent, but I also think back to, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago and how it was not like this. And so this is nice.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for Michelle?
Covered it.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
New business item B, discussion and possible action on a revision of the 2026 fee schedule for fire department permit fees and right-of-way alteration permits.
So I'm just going to ask Corey Sukow, Assistant Fire Chief, to come to the podium really quick, just in case there are questions. But what this is coming from is, the first thing is for the right-of-way alteration permits. Last meeting, when we were discussing the Blaze property right-of-way alteration permit, we indicated that the fee for it was $50. We determined that that was too low, so we revamped it to be $100 now. Trying to keep it within reason, but obviously increasing it to be a little bit more acceptable. That is on par with what our road cut permit is currently. The others are resulting from I believe the hood and suppression, fire suppression permits and the sprinkler system permits. We required those permits to be pulled in our code, but we never had anything that was a permit document or fee associated with that permit. So Corey and I sat down and we redid several permits. We got those posted, we got those done. And we then went through and we looked at several surrounding municipalities. We even looked at the city of Brookfield and put the permit fees pretty much right, I would say, in the middle of where surrounding municipalities had their permit fees. So this schedule fees update would then go into effect as soon as we pass this today going forward. So if you have any questions as to how it was determined, Corey and I can answer your questions at this time.
I don't have any on the fire department permit fees, but I do have the right-of-way permit. That's a separate issue than the fire department, correct?
That is correct. That's not together.
So I don't think it's necessarily appropriate that we would do, given that we denied the permit tonight, I don't think it's appropriate that we jack up the fee right after we deny that permit. So I almost think the right-of-way should wait till 1/1/27.
Okay.
The increase.
And that's fine if you want to. What I can do is I can modify it so it goes back down to what it was if the board so chooses, and then I'll just bring it to your attention in November when we pass the schedule of fees for 2027.
If that's a motion, I'll second it.
Okay. And was there any other questions or comments? Okay, that was a motion then. I'll make a motion to. Oh, wait, anything further from the fire department? Okay, all right, so
Thank you.
just to restate the motion, it's gonna be to allow the fire department permit fees, and then we'll push off the alteration permits to 2027. And then I made that, and then trustee Benjamin seconded that. So is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item C, discussion on possible action on resolution 26-16, a resolution to amend the employee handbook to provide a policy for the acceptable use of generative IA by village employees.
AI.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Aye.
Aye.
So this was put forward by the village labor attorney. He was the one that wrote this and provided it to us. I requested this because as we go forward in this new time and place, generative AI continues to become more common. So I wanted to put up at least initial rails on the use by village employees, mainly dealing with any type of personnel issue, police reports, anything like that, where where employees could put personable identifiable information into these free or even subscription-based AI, generative AI tools. It's really not recommended that that happens. We want to be able to put forth, again, those guardrails to prevent employees from doing that. We also want to be able to take the time to to get through some of these AI systems and determine what is the best one, that they're just not using random ones that they find online, because AI tools pop up and go away, every day. So we want to be able to control what our employees are using, if they're going to be able to use them at all. And we're going to be keeping that list internally in the village administrator's office, and then we will be sharing that with any department heads as we determine that list. But this policy was put again forward by the labor attorney, so it is fully flushed out in that respect. Many other municipalities, I did get a question on this from a board member, but many other municipalities are starting to put these guardrails in place just to help prevent any type of legal action that may result, any type of breach of security. And we have one of our village attorneys right here today, if you have any questions with regards to this. But yes, the labor attorney fleshed this out in full.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for 2616, the resolution to amend the employee handbook.
Second.
I heard Eric.
No.
Fine.
Oh, Mike, sorry. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item D, discussion is possible action on the use of funds received from the innovation grant.
So we received the innovation grant from the state of Wisconsin through the hard work of Fire Chief Cass. He worked directly with the Department of Revenue over the past couple months to get this done. The village administration did assist in this, but he was the chief flag bearer on this initiative. As a result, we have received $75,000 from the Department of Revenue this year, and for the next 4 years after this year, to use in any way that the village decides to spend it. So for this year, we already have the funds, and now in the memo that I provided to you, I listed several different ideas of how you wanted to go about spending that money. So it is, again, free to use in any way that you would like. It's just up to you on how you want to spend it. So as of right now, we're just kind of gathering some information from you on how you want me to move forward.
Does the DPW, are they scheduled for a new truck? Like, is that in 27 or is that 28?
28.
You mean the dump truck?
I think they might have a new pickup scheduled.
Yeah, in 28.
28. So my first thought is that truck that they have going to last till 28?
From what I talked to Craig about with capital projects, we're not having issues that I know of with regards to that piece of equipment. So I don't see why not.
So I know we talked about paying down the debt last time in one of our budget discussions or financial meetings, but it seemed like that wasn't necessarily the best way to do it, because the debt we had was at a pretty low rate. I think we were talking about that when we had the ambulance revenue come in.
Correct.
So I don't know if that's not, if paying down debt is necessarily.
Does that apply to this scenario, that conversation?
It could. You can use, the state put no strings on it, so that we could pay down debt with this money.
The part like what Paul's referring to, and in that discussion, it was deemed that it was actually better to not pay down the debt because interest rate we had was so low.
It was for
It-
that particular loan.
That's what I.
Yeah,
that's
for-
why I'm
yeah, for
asking
the-
if it's the
One,
same.
the loan for the ambulance itself, she recommended that we, if we want to pay debt on something else,
Yeah.
because that
That's why I
loan-
asked,
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
Correct. There's a longer term debt that can be,
There's
that's
debt if you
callable
want-
Okay.
at a
It's
higher
not
rate.
That one, it made no sense. to
So in
pay
this
off.
case, then paying down debt might not be as bad of an idea. That wouldn't hurt us.
No, like I said, there's the longer term debt that is at the higher rate
Okay.
that
I
is
just want to clarify
callable.
that. All right.
Well, we know we have projects coming up for 27, 28. It almost just seems like we should, because once we get a better handle on our finances for the rest of this year and capital and projects for 2027, 28, it almost seems like we could hold that money till then, and that would be part of our 2027 budget process.
Does it have to be used this year?
Yeah, as I stated in the memo, it can be, we could use it to pay for, certain services like maintenance or whatever year over year, and just kind of keep it aside.
I assume in the meantime, it's staying in our, like.
Could I have you speak into the-
Could you
Yeah,
Sorry.
bring your mic closer?
I was asking if it was sitting in our account that's accruing interest.
Yes, it is sitting in our LGIP account.
Perfect.
Correct.
And the things that you mentioned about the park, the scoreboard and so on, are those things covered typically by Park and Rec or?
Those are all capital projects, so those would be covered in the capital fund.
Okay, so this would be appropriate to put a portion of for that. Okay.
At one point in time at the park, there was a discussion about maybe converting some of that over to like pickleball courts, stuff like that. Oh, so I mean, we
Oh, we
could,
have a fan.
It's interested.
and I don't- would it seem safe to say that we should just hold on to this till next year so we can talk about it? I think it'd be appropriate to talk about it at our budget,
I would like to do that.
because I don't
Yes.
think there's anything urgent today that we need.
Right. I'd rather just hold on to it for right now.
They'll give us some time for some more thought on stuff around that, we might be able to use the money for. So
Exactly.
if we're not put on a time constraint to use it,
Mhm.
I don't know why we just wouldn't slow the roll and.
Yeah, if we had to use it this year, I'd say pay down the debt, but if we're not in a rush.
Yeah, we don't have to use it by the end of this year. It was just just a discussion point now that we had this revenue that we weren't expecting to have. If there's something that you wanted to tackle.
Great.
I want to
revenue.
make a special effort though, to just say
Yeah.
thank you for the fire chief of doing this extra
Yeah,
work.
for sure.
100%.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you need a motion on that, or just that was discussion if we're not going to take
Yeah,
any action?
Yeah, we're not going to take any action. You don't
Okay.
have a motion.
Perfect. Item E, discussion and possible action on a parade permit for St. Agnes Annual Sam's Memorial Walk Run.
Yes, so this is the annual parade permit that St. Agnes always applies for the Sam Barron's Memorial Walk Run. I provided in the packet the path that they are going to be taking. I believe it's the same path that they've been taking for a number of years now. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. But I don't believe that there's any
We've
issues.
never
that
had
we
any
have.
issues, right?
No.
It's been going on as long as I can remember.
One year they cut because of road construction, they changed
Changed
the
Out.
route, but
Yeah.
other than that, no issues. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the parade permit for St. Agnes Annual Sam's Memorial Walk and Run.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item F, discussion and possible action on resolution 26-17, a resolution to reduce the number of poll workers for the August 11, 2026 partisan primary.
So we did this earlier in the year, and we usually do this every year. State statute requires that we have 7 poll workers, but we can reduce it by a resolution of the village board. We don't, with absentee voting how it is now, and the way that we've streamlined the election process, there's no need to have 7 election workers at the polls. We run very well with 5, with me sometimes jumping in to cover if there's a lunch break or whatnot. So this is just a resolution to reduce that number down to 5.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2617.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Item G, Discussion and possible action on ordinance 26-11, an ordinance to amend section 8-26 of the Butler Municipal Code regarding amusement devices licenses.
So this ordinance is coming before you. I did mention this in my weekly update to you. It came to my attention that the state prohibits the use of amusement licenses to gambling machines. So as you may or may not know, in many of our bars and restaurants that have Class B liquor licenses, there are licensed amusement devices in there that may or may not be gambling devices. That is not allowed under state statute. So after talking with the state, they recommended that after this year, we cease to license those machines as amusement devices. And this ordinance is basically clarifying and recertifying that this is not something that is allowed. So going forward, there's no discrepancy, there's no confusion when looking at the code. So that's what the purpose of this ordinance is to do.
Do we have these in the village now?
Correct. They are currently in the village. Once we get to the renewal period of March, where I usually send out my letters to all of the premises, I will be including a letter stating that they cannot have these devices in the premises anymore, and that under state law they are to be removed. And I am, at that point, it's out of my hands and it's up to law enforcement to take any action that they deem fit if those if those gambling devices remain in those premises.
And is that when
Is
it's,
there a state fine? Is there a fine or do we have to set a fine? Or?
So the state statute can only be enforced by a DOR special agent.
Okay.
Our officers cannot enforce the state statute, but our officers can enforce our ordinances. So we do have 2 ordinances that prohibit gambling machines in any business. So they would have the authority to cite them if they so choose to, against the ordinance.
well, wouldn't that be a state issue, not a village issue?
We have our own issue. We have our own ordinance.
Yeah, we have our own ordinances saying that we don't allow gambling machines.
How many of these machines do we think we have? Or we don't know?
Each premise, I believe, has 5, and I would say at least 25 to 30 throughout the village.
And this is when they pay out the machine or they whatever?
Correct. I don't know that for a fact, as I have not used the machines, but I know that at least in one business that is no longer in business, they were paying out on that type of machine.
I see you included other municipalities have the same language that we're presenting.
Correct. Caitlin did that research and provided all of those sections of code from many different municipalities.
And the reason we're getting around it now, even though we have an ordinance that says they can't have a gambling machine, is because we were licensing.
Correct. So many municipalities do unfortunately license those machines. I came from one that did, and we have been licensing them for some time. It just this year came to my attention that we should not be doing that.
Got it.
And that's why I'm clarifying this ordinance is to clarify the code.
Understood.
To kind of because if you look at it independently, you may not, make the connection.
Most villages don't allow it.
Any other questions or a motion? Have these been a problem in the past?
They have not necessarily been a problem per se. I have not personally gotten any complaints with regards to them. I can't speak for the police department if they've gotten any complaints, if there's been any type of thefts or anything associated with that, but I've not been made aware of them. So they're not necessarily currently causing legal issues. But again, the statute is what the statute says, and the ordinance or what the ordinances say.
Okay, any other questions or do we have a motion?
So the state says they're illegal?
Correct.
Is that the understanding that we're getting?
Correct. The state explicitly states that it is illegal. A Class B that has 5 or less machines, it's a misdemeanor. If it's a Class B with more than 5 machines, it is a felony.
So that's why we're seeing 5 as a magic number.
Right, yeah.
I have no comment.
Okay. I did make mention to that. I mean, that's I've talked to you about it. So that, I just understand why 5 seemed to be like, why has everybody got 5? Right? So that's to keep themselves, when the hammer comes down, my guess is they'll just take a misdemeanor and. Yeah. So did.
Clarify, it's actually not a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor would be a crime of forfeiture. And the state can't enforce that to our agents. So there's kind of a loophole in state law.
And okay, so that's what's happening. What is our
Does this address the loophole then?
That would be a state law change that would have to happen.
But the thing is we're saying that we already have our ordinance, so therefore, as soon as we pull the license, our chief can walk in and write them a ticket.
Are they gonna be given like a notice?
Well, and that's where I was saying in March, I'm sending it out saying that at the end of June, they need to be out. Like the license runs till June. So in March, when I do the renewal of all the alcohol licenses, that's when I'm going to be providing them the notice. And when they come in to provide their alcohol licenses in like April, May, I'll be reasserting that when they bring that stuff in, and we're just, hey, remember that you need to have these out. So I'm going to be giving them multiple warnings. And it is, again, up to the discretion of the law enforcement agency on how they go about enforcing.
They can have the machine, they just can't pay out.
Correct. Yes, in a roundabout way. If they're not getting paid out.
For amusement only.
It's amusement.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't want to misstate
Stickers on
something.
every
I'm not
machine
an
I've ever
attorney,
seen.
so I don't want to misstate.
What does our law firm say about all this? Have we asked them?
Mr. Martell is actually in the audience.
Come on. Welcome.
Well, I haven't reviewed this specifically, but I would say that it's common in basically all of our municipalities that we represent that they have something that gives you additional enforcement. So it is illegal statewide. Whether or not they actually enforce it's a different question, which I won't get into.
And when you say they, you're talking about the state enforcing it.
Correct.
And now we have to decide if we're going to enforce it.
Yeah, and from what I understand, from what I've read, this doesn't require you to enforce it. It just gives you a legal mechanism to enforce it if you decide that the state's not doing enough and you want to go in and try to rectify whatever problems these are causing. So I would say it's common within most of the municipalities we represent. Some of the ones that you found are some of our clients.
Wrong, Caitlin.
Oh,
Other
different
Caitlin, but
Caitlin.
thank
Different
you.
Caitlin.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Caitlin with a C.
Yeah,
Different Caitlin.
it's fair.
Um,
Fair assumption.
But some of the ones in the packet
Okay.
are our clients. We've probably written some of those
Okay.
sections in their code too.
So it's kind of like everything else we do with codes and stuff. We put things on the books just so we have some teeth to them when we need them.
That's what I'm thinking.
May not need them, but.
Yeah, but at least then they,
Gives us an option, yeah, it's there.
It becomes an issue.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-11.
Thank you.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. All right, at this time, we're going to do a closed session.
And can I just make a quick comment?
Yes.
The goal of this is to keep it an open session, to give the presentations of the two interested parties and then go into closed session to deliberate after those.
Okay, perfect. So we'll stay open right now. So at this time, we're going to discuss the potential sale of parcel Butler number BV 0141990101 on Park Drive. That is the old fire department station number 2. That is located next to Frontier Park, Lower Frontier Park. So Greg, if you would like to come back, you're an interested party, so I'd like to have you back. And you can kind of continue where you left off because we already have on record what you already said. So
What's kind of interesting that Ben helped me out by sending us reaching out to me. I do appreciate that. I guess this thing has progressed, and I've got properties in Milwaukee, and I also own Seattle. I look at how Department of Neighborhood Services in Milwaukee take care of things to look at things. I look at the properties that I now own in Butler, just through normal being around, from Rex Roofing across the street from the dealership to Hidden Valley Tree Service down in that building, Half Knives and Blades. I look at this property as being an opportunity to expand upon my growing and successful Butler auto body. Again, I appreciate what the village has brought to the table. I not only feel it's going to be an asset to my inventory, what we can do at the dealership, at the body shop, but just kind of preserve. I look at that when it was brought to my attention. I had driven down there. I'm aware of some of the shortfalls and shortcomings with it, where it has flooded in the past. I've dealt with that stuff in the past, not a big deal. That's right at the mouth of the Lower Frontier Park. And people go there to enjoy the Ball Diamond, do whatever. I want to preserve that where they're driving into the area, see the property that hopefully I will be able to acquire here, and know that it's kept up, it's landscaped well, you guys are taking care of it. I would take care of it in a higher fashion as far as foliage, lawn maintenance, and what have you. Just something that would be kind of an asset to my portfolio and kind of an asset to the village. I feel very strongly, and I cringe, and I'll talk to other tenants, other people in the village, and indicate to them. Ben and I talked about this briefly. It's like, I'm licensed by the DNR for the dealership, and I know the best management practices on how to do things. Not a good idea for washing things and letting all that stuff go down the sewer. Not a good idea for doing certain things and garbage and debris sitting around. And you have something on your agenda too, which I may stick around for also. It's not being a rascal or a rat or something, or whatever you want to call it, but as people don't take care of things, breathe kind of dirty looking environments, it kind of breeds poor quality businesses to come into the area. I do all the fleet maintenance for LCS Lawn Services, and there's a property across the street that we're constantly contending with that's just not well kept, and it's disappointing. I look forward towards hopefully getting the property like this, raising some of the standards. There's some other projects in place on my other buildings in Butler that I'm doing some paint work on them and just set them up a little bit nicer, fix up some of the landscape a little bit nicer and sweeter. But it's bothersome to me and cringing to me where I see things that I know are not the way to do it. And it's disgusting when people will just go away. You have nothing to do with this, and I don't want to get involved in confrontation with other tenants and whatever, but just things that kind of should be done the right way. I look at, and I have no idea who the other potential party is, but I'm sure you're in your best interest to pick the best candidate. My offer on a property like this would be free and clear. I don't have to check with anyone. I have the funding to do it. I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of Wisconsin. I'm not looking for a commission by any means. It's something that take care of purchase. I know how to do title updates, which you guys all know, legal departments and what have you, but things that would go smooth. I would do a nice, smooth transition. I have sincere interest in it. I'm excited about the potential of doing something. And again, just to reiterate, kind of my thought process, what am I going to do with it? I wouldn't sell it. I like the idea of having something, and we have used the park in that area in the past for staging some of our cars. We'll take pictures, put them online. It bodes well towards showing the cars off. I would do other things to the property to make it a little more, wow, this looks really good. I relate back to other dealerships that have done that, where they'll have cars in their showroom areas and have them under dim lights. They're not great cars, but they're all surrounded with really nice other things. And people are like, wow, they'll come through other things. And that's the way a lot of the business has gone through internet sales, and they'll buy things based upon how things are presented. I look forward towards having that as something where I can, and there's other places I can take pictures. I can do without the property, but it would be really nice to have it. And when I finish a property or a vehicle at a body shop in a auto, it's always nice having something kind of clean and neat and crisp that's close to my area where I can put it in there, stash it, cover it, wait for delivery, send the truck driver down there to go pick the vehicle up or do what have you. And it bodes well towards a really nice situation and not to have something they want to rent. I own things, I don't like to rent. I rented a portion of Knights and Blades buildings for, I think, 6 or 8 years. And then Paul and I struck on a deal where I paid the property off. Ended up keeping the southernmost half of that, which I use for some stuff for his equipment and some stuff for mine. It works out really well. So, but again, I appreciate what the village brings to the table. I appreciate the law enforcement who do a really nice job. I applaud a lot of things you guys have done and watching, listening to what you're saying, and being a broker for the past 45 years, or 40 years plus. It's hard running what you guys are doing, and it's important to find the right fit for certain properties. That's a piece of merchandise that if it doesn't fit your requirements, it'd be nice to have a couple extra bucks going into the coffers of the village. I know that someone's going to take it and not ruin it and preserve it. And again, just to bring back the mouth of the lower Frontier Park, it needs to be presented well. Someone drives out there, wants to bring kids out there to play in the park and do whatever. It's not going to be a property that's filled with construction equipment, tree cutting equipment, salt bins, stuff that might not be DNR approved or not be really the best things in the world. So it'd be kind of a nice discreet. It operates, but it's quietly operating.
All right.
Questions you have, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Any questions from the board to Greg? Okay. Thank you.
Bill's only for a couple months.
Yeah, a little bit.
I didn't really attest to what I do. So.
All right. Well, thank you. We're still in open session, so you can stay and you can listen if you'd like. If there's any other interested parties, and I think there is, you want to come forward, whoever your spokesperson is, Erica?
May I read something?
Just your name and then who you're with Dorshak. So.
Yep, my name is Erica and I'm the operations manager at Dorshak. I would like to begin by recognizing the strong relationship Dorshak has built with the village of Butler. We've been a part of this community since 1992, and Butler is where we intend to remain. Over the years, our company has continued to grow. We currently employ approximately 47 people, and as that growth has continued, we have reached a point where our available space on 126th Street is becoming increasingly limited. If any of you drive by, you'll know what we're talking about. When we learned from the village that the former fire department training property on Park Drive would be available for purchase, it immediately caught our attention. The property could provide Dorshak with a much needed satellite location for storage, employee training, and future operational needs. It would allow us to store a significant amount of our equipment away from our already crowded main facility in a residential area, making for less congestion and provide room for additional brine storage. We too would beautify the property and make sure it's not an eyesore. We also do have brine that this would help with our brine capabilities with the property. It would support a more efficient and environmentally responsible approach to snow and ice management, which is also part of our business. Because we already provide commercial snow services to several businesses within the village, keeping these resources in Butler could also help us continue serving the local business community effectively. The property could also provide an excellent location for hands-on employee training. Tree care is highly specialized work, and practical training is essential to protecting our employees, the public, and the properties where we work. Having a dedicated training area would help us continue developing skilled and safety-focused workforce here in Butler. Besides that, we believe Dorshak's history with the village demonstrates the type of neighbor and community partner we strive to be. We have helped address concerns regarding tree pruning practices by sharing current pruning methods and safety standards. Our production manager, safety guy, worked with Craig and did some training for the DPW. We have worked to improve roadway safety by identifying and addressing potential tree hazards. We have provided dependable assistance during storms, emergencies, and seasonal cleanup needs whenever requested. Our commitment has also extended beyond our normal services. We have supported and donated to community events such as Hot Rods on Hampton and National Night Out, at Frontier Park, which we are fortunate to use as for our annual company picnic. We have helped plant trees, replace the baseball diamond lights or replace lights at the baseball fields, and maintain green spaces wherever possible. We also purchase any materials and supplies in Butler as much as we can. We're conscious of where we do business. We donated about $7,000, I believe, of tree work. You guys did the library. We have worked to maintain open communication with village leaders, employees, residents, and we take great pride in helping make Butler a safer, cleaner, and more welcoming community. Our interest in the Park Drive property is about more than gaining additional space. It is an opportunity for a long-standing Butler business to continue growing within the village while strengthening a relationship that has existed for more than 3 decades. Thank you for allowing us to share our interest. We appreciate your guys' consideration.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dorshak?
Not really. I'm pretty satisfied with both presentations.
All right. Is there anyone else interested in speaking about the property? None. So do we want to move into a closed session at this time? Okay. So at this time, we're going to move into a closed session. The board may consider convening the closed session pursuant to section 19-85 1E to deliberate or negotiate other specified public business, given that competition and bargaining reasons require closed session. The board may convey back into open session to take action on the items discussed in closed session. The item of discussion, potential sale of parcel number BV 0141991001 on Park Drive in the village of Butler.
I have a correction for you, sir.
Yeah.
That's a 19.85 1G, not E. You said E.
Mine says
E. I said G right here. Potential
There's,
property.
the
There's
next one is
actually-
G.
G's the one below it.
Oh, yeah, so it is E.
It's E.
Correction. I'm wrong.
Correction of the correction.
All right.
Correction
Do I
of the
have a
correction.
motion to go into
Motion
closed?
to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to go into the closed session. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. And then for this, I'd like to have the administration, our village attorney, and police chief. Did you need to be in here for this, or it doesn't matter to you at all? Stay initially, and then we'll just go from there. Okay. And then I would ask everyone else would have to leave. And we will reopen. And so if you wanted to wait, we'll call you back in. We don't know how long it will be, or we can let you know what happens. Thank you.
Are you?
Do we need a 5-minute break?
Okay.
Very good. Let's keep her going.
Keep going. Okay.
Give 1 second. Aaron's just turning off the stream.
Oh.